This was my first ever car model in Blender, and just 2 weeks later I was already able to create this. Today, 5 years later, I can easily create cars like this. And in this video I will show you exactly how my Blender journey went. So let's turn back the time to 2021. Chapter 1. Downtown Driving Simulator. It all began with an idea that I had with a friend of mine. And the idea was simple. We wanted to create a car game for Roblox. We took inspiration from already existing games, like for example Driving Empire, and with this idea in our minds, we just started to work. He took on the scripting part and I started to learn how Blender works. Therefore, I've started Blender and then thought to myself like, how the f do I move? At some point I think I figured it out, as I've saved up a Blender file called test1 in which I have recreated this. That's really sick, right? At least I was able to create my first ever car in Blender on the 2nd March 2021. And actually the topology isn't that bad, but of course it's more like a block than a real car, as it's also not based on any real existing car. But with this accomplishment in my bag, I recreated this Volkswagen Golf 8 on the 3rd March 2021, so just 1 day later. At the same day I also recreated this Opel Astra K, and then on the next days I have modeled even more cars like this Ford Mustang, this Audi RS5 and this Mercedes AMG GT. And although these cars and all of the other cars that I have created in the next couple of days are looking quite decent, they lack of course a good topology, and because of only my basic knowledge in Blender, do have some modeling issues. And if you compare this Mercedes AMG GT 4-door, which I have created in March 2021, to a Mercedes AMG GT 4-door that I have created in April 2026, you can see that I still was only at the beginning. The progress that I have made so far came from the experience that I have gained during the modeling process of these cars, and also because I have started to use proper blueprints. The first cars that I have made were only recreated with some unautographic reference images, so using proper blueprints was a big step for me. And as I also want you to make a big step in the modeling process, I have some high quality blueprints for you in my description. So with a lot of cars already made for the game, I of course also started to build the map, and my goal was to make this map very detailed, so between all of the skyscrapers you could also find some detailed areas, and as this game shouldn't only be about driving, you could also find some ladders to go to the top of the skyscraper. We have also recreated some very cozy places like this Wolf Park, in which Alex Uizet, who's still in my team until this day, currently as a moderator on my Discord server, has recreated the statue of a wolf, which is looking very sick even now. But as my other friend, who wanted to take on the part of the scripting, never really started to script the game, the idea for Downtown Driving Simulator came to an end only 2 months after we have started. I have made a break of 3D modeling and have started again in July 2022 with Chapter 2 Modern Mansion Tycoon. As I had no idea on how to script, and you can find some step-by-step tutorials on how to create a Tycoon script on YouTube, I decided to work on a Tycoon. I decided to make a theme of a modern mansion, and I have started to work again. Most of the models I have used were made in Roblox Studio itself, so in this project I didn't go crazy in Blender with 3D modeling, but I have still made a lot of progress in creating some basic objects. I have put 2 cars from Downtown Driving Simulator into this game, created a map that also had some curved roads, unlike Downtown Driving Simulator, and then I have already released the game. And it was a total waste of time. As to the stage right now, the game has only around 5,000 visits. I once again made a break, and in October 2022 I have started with Chapter 3, German Autobahn. This project was a complete different level, not only because it was way bigger than the other games that I have created, but also because it was way more complicated. I have made a lot of progress pictures during the process, which you can see in the background right now, and with every new picture appearing on your screen, you can see how big the game really was. And once again, everything started with just one idea in my head and this drawing of a map. And if you compare the finished map, you can see how accurate I went. Most of the models once again were made in Roblox Studio itself, but despite of the other changes that I have already done to the game, there's one change that's even bigger, and it is the cars. As if you take a look on an Audi RS5 that I have created for Downtown Driving Simulator and this Audi RS5 that I have created for German Autobahn, you can see that I have made a lot of high poly cars for this game. And I don't want to suck my own cock at this point too much, but every time I revisit this game, it's actually unbelievable to me that I've made it all on my own. The only thing that was created by another person is the dealership and the money shop system, as I can't script like you already know. But if you consider the fact that I have paid around $400 for this guy to make the script, you're absolutely right to say that I got scammed. But at least the game paid off and I have made 2,204 Robux. Wait, let me check how much dollars it is. It is $7? Oh fuck. But it was not only a lot of fun making this game, but also a lot of fun playing this game with my friend. And if you consider the fact that I have learned a lot of new lessons, it was absolutely worth making the game. And actually the game is still online up to this date, so you can go ahead and check this out for yourself. But because the game is that big and not optimized at all, you're only able to play this on a PC. The next chapter started with a goal that I had for 2023, and it was to earn 500 euros with an online business. Therefore, I have started with chapter 4, Fiverr commissions. I've opened up a gig for 3D low poly cars and I've made exactly 0 sales in the first month. Somewhere along my second month, a guy called Jonas, and yes, he's German, wanted to buy the Audi RS7 that I had on the preview of my gig. So like this, I have sold my first car and have gained the first review. And with this 5-star review, not only Jonas have bought even more cars, but also other people started to request cars from me. Like this, my Fiverr account grew really quick and I've made a bunch of new cars. Although I couldn't achieve my goal of earning 500 euros in 2023, I've made a really good progress, which I have written down in my diary, and there you can see that in the 4 months in which I have sold car models on Fiverr, I have made 327 euros, which is around $380. In February 2024, I have stopped doing commissions on Fiverr, first of all because I had to focus on a full-time job, but also because I got banned on Fiverr, but this is a whole different story. But before I got banned on Fiverr, I have made a connection to a guy who wanted to create a new game for Roblox. So let's start with chapter 5, Lifeline Germany. I'm going to keep this chapter really short, as you already know that I'm a person who is getting scammed really easily. This guy who has texted me on Fiverr wanted to make a game and he wanted me to make the car models. The scam starts with the fact that he wanted me to make the cars for free, and as he has showed me some proofs that he has already worked on very popular projects, which I'm not going to name right here just to protect the name of the guy, I've actually trusted him and have made a bunch of new models. Sadly, the game was never developed and therefore the models will never be used in a game called Lifeline Germany, but with the Stealer Brainrot hype on Roblox, the team has created a Stealer car game in which they have used all of my models that I've created for the game. So if you want to check out the models for yourself, you can again play this game as it's still available. And after all of these setbacks, I'm currently in the best chapter, chapter 6, The Instructor. So with all of that experience that I've gained during these years, I have started this YouTube channel right here to teach all of you on how to make your 3D models even better. I have started with this basic tutorial on how to model a rim, and up to this date I have continued with creating even more tutorials, and I have even managed to create 3 complete step-by-step courses. So if you're at this point interested in how to create a complete low poly kind of blender, in which I have put in 5 years of experience in only a little bit over 2 hours of video lessons. And if you're not that much into cars but you still want to learn how Blender works, I have an even better fitting product for you, as I have also created a complete step-by-step beginner guide in Blender in which we have recreated this low poly forest house scene. And while creating all of these tutorials and courses, I have also created a Discord server which currently has around 800 members, so if you're into 3D modeling, I would highly recommend you to join this Discord server, as you can find like-minded people in there, and if you should have an issue while 3D modeling, you can ask a question there and you will get an answer in no time. So now my kings and queens, this is the current chapter. Although I had some setbacks, I really can't complain on how the story went, and I am really happy to be where I am today. And if you want to follow my future journey, then consider to subscribe to my channel, and we will definitely see us in the next video.